Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our How To Corner. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the importance of recovery. Before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, do all those great things. Also, hop in the comments. Let us know what you think about the content and what you want us to talk about or discuss, and we will. And with that, let's get going. My name is Will Gray, and we're going to discuss a lot of different things about recovery today in order to make sure that we're able to give you the best information possible out there and get you kind of started on your journey to being a real athlete. Now, here are some things we're going to talk about and the pillars of our talk. First and foremost, we're going to tell you about what is recovery, treatment, types of recovery that benefit the body, why recovery is just as crucial as training, consequences of a poor recovery, and then recovery plans and strategies, right? So, what is recovery? Recovery is basically the passive active healing of your body. There's a lot of things you have to do to replenish your body of nutrients. You have to do things to fortify your body to prevent further breakdown, recharging the body for the next workout. Recovery is super, super important to be able to reach your full potential and your max potential. And a lot of times we skip steps, especially when we're young and get into the actual world of athletics, and as well as when we're actually in college and we're a little bit older. Sometimes we don't do this until we're older and when we could have done it younger and be able to extend our career. Now, let's talk about the types of recovery. For me, there's three types. I kind of broke them up this way because it just is easier to get you to kind of get a ideal of what I mean by passive, active, and therapeutic recovery. So, passive recovery for me is sleep, rest, mental recovery. So you can put things in your body nutrition wise to be able to help you while you sleep and when you recover. And then, in addition to that, you can do things like soak, stuff like that. But the mental part is super important. If you have a lot of mental stresses, you have an increased cortisol amount in your body. That cortisol affects your ability to be able to recover when you go to sleep. So, passive recovery is definitely something that you need to really focus on and realize that it's just as important as the next thing, active recovery. Active recovery is after hard days of working out or a game or a match or whatever, walking, cycling, swimming, something that's to get your blood flowing that's not really high impact, that's going to be allow your circulation or your circulatory system to remove a lot of that lactic acid buildup, but also give you ability to be able to bounce back quickly versus sitting there and making your body have to really work through all of these different things to be able to recover. And then mobility drills, just moving around, right? As well as stretching, different hip, different back, different things to be able to get your mobility back. Because a lot of times we're stiff after those hard workouts and those games. And last but not least, the therapeutic recovery piece, massage, stretching, physical therapy for sure, cryotherapy, contrast bath, and compression. All of these things do have somewhat of a passive element to it, but when you have someone that's guiding your recovery, it is definitely a great thing. A lot of times we do recovery on our own, and we don't realize that in order for us to really maximize our recovery and our ability to return to the sport that we're playing or the activity that we're doing the quickest, we need somebody there on our side to be able to guide it for us and introduce us to these different things to be able to help us get back. Now, the benefits of recovery. Obviously, with recovery, you have muscle repair, and muscle growth because after you lift, you want to get something in your body immediately, nutrition wise, right? As well as resting to be able to allow your body to take in all those nutrients, but also grow, right? From what you've done the day before, you want to be able to expand on what was supposed to come out of this specific activity that you were doing. Now, the other piece of the injury prevention part, right? The benefits of recovery. If I have constant focus on recovery, what happens is I'm not as sore. Sore muscles that are basically have micro traumas in them that leads to inflammation that accumulates, and then our body doesn't work the same and opens up us to more injuries, soft tissue or major injuries. And then the recovery helps improve performance and endurance. If I work hard and I recover my body, what happens is when I return from that, I'm able to really get back to my performance and be able to be better. And that endurance piece allows me to be able to go harder, right? And then the mental health and reduce burnout. The mental recovery that's passive is what I was talking about earlier, how it being so paramount to everything you do. You have to be able to have time for yourself, take off from doing your actual activity, your sports, your training, and that will allow you to be able to continue to have that fresh take on your workouts when you're working out. And then the better immune function. When you're recovering, your body's not always in a state of breakdown or growth, in the sense of it's having to do more. What happens when you're able to sit there and try to recover, your immune system is not compromised at all. That's why when you're sick, you don't supposed to work out, because your immune system depresses some and you're not able to fight off things. Now, let's talk about the consequences of poor recovery. People think that training a lot is the correct thing. No, not for everyone. And overtraining is a real thing. Overtraining leads to increased risk of injury. Just what it is. Decline in the athletic performance comes from poor recovery, as well as from all the things that happen with overtraining. Accumulation of inflammation and micro trauma to the muscles, soft tissue injuries that never recovered from, and then the fatigue and lack of motivation. Once you get kind of burned out mentally and you've been working so hard, your body is just in a state of just being run down. If you do not recover mentally, and as well as take some time off, rest, then it's very hard for you to continue this actual performance and recovery. And last but not least, prolonged soreness. Prolonged soreness, slower healing time, slower recovery from those healing times comes as a consequence of poor recovery. With that, you have to be very, very, very intentional about your recovery and what you're doing, and try to make it where it's feasible to do all the time. And that allows you to be able to not suffer these consequences of poor recovery. Now, let's talk about some key strategies, right, for athletes when it comes to recovery, as well as active weekend warriors. Nutrition, hydration. Nutrition, like I said earlier, getting the right nutrients in your body. You can do an actual a screening or some blood work to be able to find out what your body actually needs, and that'll allow you to be able to really maximize that. But that's at a pretty much higher level. But the nutrition that you do daily, the rest that you get daily, how you hydrate, the importance of post-workout meals, fluids, and also the role of proteins and carbs and electrolytes in your recovery really is a great strategy to focus on in first. What you eat, what you feed your body. Sleep. You need to sleep. You have to sleep. That's when your body heals. That's when your body recovers, when your body heals, right? And with that, stretching, foam rolling before you go to sleep, daily post training routines, increase the flexibility and the blood flow that allows you to be able to, one, recover better. So the sleep tied in with the nutrition, hydration, and the things that fall underneath our actual thought process, what comes with sleeping, getting your body ready to be rested is so important. And then the recovery, right? We want to be the mindful of the meditation, the downtime, that mental recovery, because reducing performance and anxiety and stress is super, important when it comes to that aspect of mental recovery. You have to take time off to be able to be better. All right, great. Now, personalized recovery plans. Now, these plans should be tailored to a type of workouts you're trying to perform. So, in essence, if I'm trying to get better as a defensive back with my feet, then my workout should be really toned in on trying to improve strength that helps me be better with my feet. Also, activities and drills and workouts that totally lock in on my footwork, making me a lot more twitchy, agile, right? That's just an example. Recovery plans look different for everybody. That's why I said the blood work piece, as well as trying to do the things I talked about in the sleep portion of it, passive, active, therapeutic pieces. You have to find your nice mix, right? Your mix works for you. Your body responds to what you do. Figure out what your body needs. Like I said, nutrition, things that you don't know because you haven't really focused it on. How do your body responds when you have this protein in your body? Maybe you like this drink. Maybe a pre-workout boost is needed for you to be able to have a better workout. Maybe after you work out, you got to eat something immediately. You can only eat a certain amount of food or a certain type of foods that work better for you. You won't know till you get into that world of trying to figure out the do's and don'ts. One little shortcut you could do, you could also have a little booklet I think you can order offline that talks about your blood type and what foods that are good for your blood type. That's a good way to do it if you can't get the blood work done. And then how many times do you work out a week? All right. How many times do you work out a day? Right? Your body may not bounce back as quick when you first start working out early. It may take a little time. And if it does, that's fine. Just gradually build up until you find your optimal amount of workouts in a day and how often you work out during the week. And then when do you need to recover? If you know that your recovery is better when you do your workouts in the morning, you recover throughout the day gradually, then great. If it's a situation where, hey man, I need 2, 3 workouts in, then my body is usually primed to go to sleep at a certain time, about 8. I get up at 4. Hey man, I feel amazing. Then you have to figure out when do you need to recover. And you only find that out by personalizing recovery plans, working with an individual that's great at being able to figure out what you need and why you need what you need. I hope today's talk was very informative. I hope you got a lot out of today's talk. I hope you're able to actually, take what we talked about and implement it. And if you can't, you can contact us. We're actually on Instagram. We're at Facebook. We're YouTube. We also have a website, 3gen.com/contact. If you reach out to us, we will reach out back to you, try to get you started on that plan that focus on your recovery and your performance. And with that being said, I hope you have a blessed one. I'll catch you in the next one.